Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the biggest Man United fan channel in the land. This is the United Stand. Kev is back from Malta. Thursday night it resumes. Loads of news to get through this evening. Jadon Sancho apparently wants a move to Chelsea. Does he even have a say in this? Ugarte, we're going to get an update on that. We are hoping that we get a here we go tomorrow. Scott McTominay to Napoli should be announced very, very soon as well. Obviously, the deadline is tomorrow, so we'll have a look at that. See, are you going to miss Scott McTominay? You know, some people out there not big fans of Scott McTominay, but I didn't mind him. And the big news from the day, obviously this is a news show, is that Mason Mount is injured. Is that even news? Mason Mount injured. But thank you very much for joining me. It's great to be back. I have been on holiday before anybody starts with all the fake tan nonsense and that. This is not from a bottle. This is from the Maltese sun. But Fabrizio Romano with the update this evening. Chelsea are currently talking to Manchester United for Jadon Sancho in a separate deal from Victor Osimhen, and it says both deals are still being negotiated. What I want to get, as always, is your interaction. You know, you are the main thing. I always say this and people say, oh, it's such a cliche thing to say, Kev, but you lot out there are the ones that make this channel, and fan opinion very, very strong, and that is no different here. You know, we want to get your opinion, so if you want to get a super chat in, I know I leave myself up to all kinds of possibilities by saying that I will read them out. I need to be very careful on the pronunciation of some of these names because I did get caught out just before I went on holiday, but I've still not been caught out on the Thursday night show. But yeah, get your comments in. We will go through the topics. And if you've got something to say, I'll try and keep up to date with the hardcore United Stand chat as well, the United Stand Ultra chat. But yeah, the news coming in from Fabrizio, I don't think it's anything that we didn't already know. I think Manchester United were trying to push Jadon Sancho towards the exit door of Italy with Juventus, but it seems that Juventus signing a couple of players there now has kind of hampered this deal. It means that they might not have the finances to get Jadon Sancho. But how do you solve? It's actually annoying me. But I've got to get it off my chest, man, because Jadon Sancho, what a complete and utter waste of time at Manchester United. And depending where you sit on Jadon Sancho, you might be one of the, I don't know, you might have been to the souvenir shop and bought the shirt a few years ago, bit of a fanboy or whatever, one of these people that puts players before club. You know, Jadon Sancho over Erik ten Hag. I've seen a lot of this recently, especially on X, formerly Twitter, whatever you call it. People putting pictures out of Ronaldo, Pogba and Sancho in a picture and saying if Erik ten Hag didn't have an ego, you know, imagine how this lot could cook. And I'm thinking, where is your head at? If you are choosing an individual player like Jadon Sancho over a manager like Erik ten Hag, and let's not beat around the bush here. The problems that Erik ten Hag has had at Manchester United, no other Manchester United manager has had to deal with. You look at the Ronaldo thing, the Mason Greenwood situation. I could go on and on and on. And Jadon Sancho is just another disappointing signing from Manchester United, somebody that is on mega money. But if anybody wants to sit there to me and tell me that they would choose Jadon Sancho over Erik ten Hag, you know, get rid of ten Hag, get a manager in who can unlock Jadon Sancho. Well, do you know what? For the money that he's on, he's shown a total lack of disrespect to you, the supporters, to the manager, you know, the fan base as a whole, the club, the great name Manchester United. Jadon Sancho has tarnished that, and he has dragged it through the mud. Yet some supporters, the so-called supporters, will side with Jadon Sancho. And I'm not saying it's all about opinions. But what Jadon Sancho has done, I mean, look, you know, I could say, well, what has he done? He's done absolutely nothing. He has disrespected the club, fallen out with the manager. He decided not to make up with the manager. Oh, I'm not going to make up with him. You know, I'm gonna push for a loan move. Want to go back to Dortmund? Yeah, well, that's all right. How did that work out? And you knew at the time when Sancho went to Dortmund. It was a huge, huge story. Now, the press will push this on you. What all they wanted to do was when Jadon Sancho passed the ball to somebody and somebody put it in the net was, oh, Sancho got an assist. And that's all we were told that Erik ten Hag had got this one wrong. Why has he left Sancho out in the cold? Because there was a disagreement. And the manager is the main man at that club. This would have never happened. You know, well, it did under Sir Alex Ferguson. And if you did and you turned against it, you had a disagreement, if you didn't apologise, you were out the door. I've said this before. Ask our assistant manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ask David Beckham. Ask Jaap Stam. Ask Roy Keane. You know, these players, it doesn't matter who you are, but Jadon Sancho isn't even in a position where he's done anything at Manchester United to warrant any kind of special kind of service or attention. You know, you think of Eric Cantona at Manchester United. A lot of the players that played in that team will say that Eric Cantona got special kind of, what do you call it? He was just treated differently to the rest of the other players. But they all knew deep down that Sir Alex Ferguson and that team at the time needed Eric Cantona, you know, more than anybody else, because he was capable of winning games with moments of absolute pure brilliance. And you had to put the arrogance, all the kind of sidewalk kind of thing to one side, because he could do it. And he would go out there on the pitch and give it his all. Yes, he kicked a fan in the crowd and all this, you know, but that was part and parcel of Eric Cantona's makeup. You know, I'm not saying for 1 minute that Jadon Sancho should go and jump in the crowd at Selhurst Park the next time he's playing there or whatever. It doesn't work like that. But Jadon Sancho went on loan to Borussia Dortmund, and we were spoon-fed all this bollocks, should I say, you know, how they'd made the Champions... They didn't make the Champions League final because of Jadon Sancho. Yet that was pushed on us. Again, Erik ten Hag has made a mistake here. Jadon Sancho, what a player. Well, if he was that good, why haven't Borussia Dortmund come back in for him? Talk about money, talk about PSR, whatever. If he's that great, then why haven't they come back in for him? This is a player who was contracted to United, went on loan to Dortmund, kissed the badge, told us in an interview, all the Borussia Dortmund fans, that it was great to be back home, whilst he was under contract still, full-time at Manchester United. And I look at that, and it does not sit right with me. Yeah, what do we expect from a player like this? You know, the club under the old regime, and thank God this has to be the last one of these, and it will be. And it does make you wonder whether a Barada or somebody at the top has sat and looked at this and thought, Barada knows Pep Guardiola better than anybody. There's a reason that Pep Guardiola let Jadon Sancho go away, you know, go from Manchester City. There is no smoke without fire. Maybe United now have just gone, well, they clearly have. They are cutting all ties with him. They don't want anything to do with him. And at the risk of saying, I told you so, I'm going to say it, man. I told you so. I said at the time when this story come out about they kissed and made up, Jadon Sancho and Erik ten Hag, everything is rosy in the garden. They're sat out in the garden. They're having a picnic. They've never got on so better. You know, they've kissed and made up. And Jadon Sancho is going to be like a new player for Manchester United this season. And I was asked this question at the time. And straight away, I am quite a sceptical person. But this time I went, I said, I tell you something. This to me smells of just a great PR campaign by Manchester United. They know they have an asset that they spent 70 whatever million on. And for me, it was all about protecting that and trying to get the best price. I said at the time, I would not be surprised if Jadon Sancho went before the end of the deadline. And this was at the time when this story come out that, for me, I think Manchester United created. We heard in pre-season, he was put in the shop window. He played in pre-season. You had Erik ten Hag waxing lyrical about Jadon Sancho. He can play, you'll remember, if you, at the time, he can play all over the front three. He can play on the left, play on the right. He can play in behind the striker, you know, very versatile. And at this time, I'm like, is anybody hearing this? This is a player that disrespected the club. And we're supposed to believe that they've made up. And at the time, on the United stand, I said, for me, I firmly believe that this is just a power play from the club. I think the clever people, clever football people like Barada, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Brailsford, whoever it might be, Dan Ashworth even, just basically got in a room and they probably said to Sancho as well, you know, we don't want you at the club, but what we're going to do is make out everything is all right. And once we put this story out, if a club comes in for you, you can go. I think United just put him in the shop window. But the wages are astronomical. Again, I was going to touch on the point before because under the old regime, this is the kind of thing that happened. Players rewarded for doing absolutely nothing in the game. And that might sound harsh, but for me, Jadon Sancho never warranted the kind of money that he got at Manchester United. And I think he, along with maybe a Casemiro to an extent, the Varanes, obviously Varana's gone, but they're the last of the ones through this kind of door where the gravy train was, where they almost held United and it was on their terms. You know, you can have my services, this is what I want. And United were just daft as a brush and they would have paid anything to get these names through the door. Yes, they're going to sell shirts. They're going to sell, I don't know, the biscuits with a name on. I don't know where I pulled that one out from, but this is the kind of world that you live in, marketable footballers. United probably seen Sancho as some kind of pin-up boy without actually realising what could he bring to the team. I didn't actually believe that United needed Jadon Sancho when we sold him. I thought it was a hell of a lot of the money. At the time on the United Stand, I said that money could have been spent so much better. And look at us, years on now, we've got a major issue. Because how the hell is this player he's almost coming out himself now and dictating where he wants to go? You know, and if he goes to Chelsea, I know there's a lot of United fans this doesn't sit well with because they will see Chelsea as some kind of rival this season. I couldn't care less. If Chelsea are daft enough to take him on and they think they can get a tune out of him, then he goes with my blessing. And it really is good riddance. I would be like, cheerio. I was going to say thanks. Well, thanks for nothing. Thanks for being an absolute tool, being an issue at this great club. And hopefully it will be the last of that type of player that comes to Manchester United, because I mean, I'm really interested to get your thoughts in on the chat. It's going absolutely wild here. Let's delve in, as I always say, to the absolute minefield that is the chat room. Yes, it's great to see you. Bossak Skull, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Alex says he's taking the piss out of us. You know, if we could just end the show. Can we end the show, Greg? He's shit. Yeah, what he's saying, yeah, we can. Right, thank you for the heads up there. Alex Park is saying he's taking the piss out of us. And I've only just started reading these. I don't know whether they are going to echo the kind of things. Listen, I don't want to put into your mind. You're sat at home, work, on the bus, on the beach, wherever you are, man, now. You will have your own opinion about this, but I know for a fact the majority of the people that I'm speaking to are just absolutely livid with the way that Jadon Sancho has gone about this. And maybe you look at it and go, well, Kev, the club have, you know, played a hand in this as well. Let's just remember, it was the old regime who signed him up to this ridiculous contract. And the main thing for me is the word disrespect. I said earlier, he's disrespected you, me. We are the supporters of Manchester United. And when you do that, I think when you lose the hardcore element, you know, you've lost the fans. For me, you don't have any supporters unless you're that person that has gone out and put Sancho. I don't even know what number he is because I can't remember. When's the last time he... I don't know. Ross says, all right, pal, what do you think about... Oh, yeah, hey... Ross, I wouldn't mind. I think Greg just pre-warned me there and I've just gone straight in. Everybody in the chat will be able to read that. You can have a... Yes, nearly got me on the Thursday night. So close. We are on the subject of Jadon Sancho, if you just joined us. Fabrizio giving us a bit of an update on the fact that Jadon Sancho wants to go to Chelsea. You know, where does that sit with you? I am of the opinion... do you know what? I wouldn't even give him the satisfaction. I was going to say, if that's an opportunity, I will carry him all the way to Stamford Bridge. But no, he can get himself a private plane I am desperate to see the back of him, but I'm certainly not carrying him there. Do you know what I mean? Got a bad back as it is. Tom says, hi Kev, is Sancho deal still swap or is it cash? Now this one, Tom, it does seem to be a separate deal, something I did want to get to. I've got a feeling we will be in this Sancho debate for a while. There obviously was talk, and again, people might look and say this has been spoken about before, Kev. I know, but Kev has been away, not been on the United stand for a couple of weeks here, so they are allowing me to go back over some kind of old ground, because at least you get, in my opinion, you know, it is something maybe a little different. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm going to get that. He's just a puppet for Mark. He's just one of Mark's minions. He says all the same. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Ross, I've just got to take my hat off to you again. Well done for trying. That was an absolute corker. Yes, we think it is. Do you know what? I don't know at this moment in time. We'll talk about Sterling in a minute. Nick says, would you rather take Chilwell over Sterling if swap? I mean, we talk about the injury issues at this club. And when I heard Luke Shaw the other day and the fact that Chilwell, I'd never heard of bomb squad until this week. That seems to be the buzz kind of saying, doesn't it? I don't even know these bomb squads kind of were even about. I was thinking of like Blazing Squad from back in the day, you know, see you at the crossroads, there you go, see you at there's what everyone's like, wow, is Kev on tonight? Higher life, I'm happy to be back on the United stand, but yeah, these bomb squads apparently they have at clubs where, you know, if they don't like you, if you look at somebody the right way, you put in the bomb squad, and you get numbers taken off you now. You know, you've got Sterling at City. Number 7's been taken off him. You've got Conor Gallagher, who just like walked into training wearing the wrong aftershave. Next minute, he's on a plane. He's signing for Atletico Madrid. Absolutely ruthless, man. But Chilwell, I mean, come on, Chilwell. We've got... Chilwell's a great player. Do not get me wrong. But if we're talking about swapping... If you're talking as a replacement for Luke Shaw's got his own injury issues, and then you've got Chilwell with his own injury issues. So, yeah, if you bring in Chilwell, that left back, I mean, they are going to be flat out, you know, literally flat out in that physio room. You're going to have Malacia, Chilwell, and Luke Shaw. Lead back, you know what I mean, on the old physio, the three of them, and we'll still have the same issue. If you could... There's no guarantees in football, but you can't guarantee it. But I do like Chilwell, but we need a player that's going to be consistent, and the injury record, would you trust United's medical department to do a medical on Chilwell? You know, get the little wooden hammer out and knock it against his knee. That's probably what they do at our place. Knock it on a couple of the knees, the elbows, stick your tongue out. Yeah, we're signing you. He's sound, this lad. Fit as a fiddle. Yeah, that's probably the United, medical department summed up in one. We do have some more super chats. Absolutely loving this. I'm just going to say, I'm going to call the first bit of this name them, because I can see how that was going to pan out. What's going on with Ugarte? We here at the United stand, we are understanding, let's not forget, it's deadline day tomorrow, and we've got you covered here on the United stand. What a great plug there from them asking me what is going on with Ugarte. We are going to look into Ugarte in a bit. I've got a few things I want to kind of run off. Is he an upgrade on McTominay? What's he going to bring to United? I've heard a few people saying, you know, he can't pass, he doesn't play long passes, doesn't get assists, doesn't get goals. We'll get into that in a bit. Pocher says, what happened with Ugarte? I expect to be official today. A lot of people in the United stand headquarters today were gearing up for this, but it is our understanding that Ugarte will be announced tomorrow. Let's not forget, when you sign for Manchester United, it's not just as easy as doing a medical and then the old school thing, like Brian Robson out on the pitch, you know, a wooden desk, hold up a scarf, you know, sign a bit of paper and you're in. It's all different now. As we know with Alexis Sanchez, you know, he had to learn how to play Glory, Glory Man United on a piano. Maybe Ugarte has got to learn to play Glory, Glory Man United on Can't think of a Uruguayan instrument. And ukulele? Maybe he's got to do that. Maybe he's struggling with it. You know, and the race is on now for Ugarte to nail down what is a ukulele? I don't even know. I don't know. But what I meant by that, I know I am kind of joking, but you know that social media is such a big thing with these football clubs now that, like I say, you don't get Brian Robson sat on the pitch holding up the scarf. Now we're going to get some kind of wild video, and that's what the kids want these days, isn't it? I'm there for it, man. Robert McCormack says, Kev, the legend, back in business. We've got a fist pump. I'll give you one back, sir. Thank you very much. It's great to be back. I've actually, it sounds very sad, but while I was on holiday, I obviously still watched the United stand and that. My wife was like, you know, just get away from it, have a break. But I did tap in after the games, fan forum and that, and obviously the news. I was down by the pool, you know, sat watching it and that. Cena's, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Yes, that's what I like to see. Cena has then only gone and put in their first ever super chat. What an absolute legend. Said, Sancho don't get a say in this deal. Let him rot. Cena, again, we could possibly wrap up on that super chat, but I think we're going to get a lot more. I think there's, say anger. Let's not call it anger. Let's pick the spirits up and raise it here. I think there's just a lot of people that, are angry because of what Jadon Sancho is trying to instigate here. But again, I know people that will say it doesn't sit well with them if he goes to Chelsea. So be it. You know, let him go to Chelsea. And then make sure you're at Old Trafford for when Chelsea come to Stamford Bridge. And, just chant at him and do nothing bad. Do you know what I mean? Just let him know that what he did at United. Shout Eric Ten Hag at him. The bald messiah. Let him have it. Neil Curran, a member for 26 months of the United Stand Members Club, says, we badly need a left back and now another midfielder. Kev, give us your dream last-minute deal. Realistic. It was nice seeing McSauce's reaction in Naples today. We are going to cover McTominay in a bit. I always do this, don't I? Get carried away. I say, I've got all this stuff to do, and before I can get through it all, we've passed the hour. We're absolutely flying. That's what I would say here. Kev is back in the hot seat. Give us your dream last-minute deal. I mean, I think you covered it there. I think left-back would be a priority, depending on Malacia, depending on Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's at the age now where it's becoming a worry. He could break down. But one of the players I have been very, very... I've got positive rave reviews from Kev. What's Kev going to say? Yeah, he's a belter, this one. Somebody who was relatively cheap. Now, the two games that I did watch while I was in Malta was obviously Fulham, Brighton, Mazraoui. Looks good. Again, don't want to get too carried away. But as a right back, I've got no issue with Dalot covering in at left back. I think he's very competent at doing that, so not an issue. What player would I like to sign? I'd like a striker, mate, to be honest. If we're going to say that Ugarte is going to be signing tomorrow, playing his ukulele, Man United on the ukulele, then it would have to be a striker. I don't know about a dream striker. I know that Ivan Toney has been mentioned, so it wouldn't be a dream, but I think it's evident at the start of the season, this false nine thing not working. I think you need somebody up there that's going to press, somebody that is a goal threat. And that's why the news today as well, just before I come to the studio, Manchester United revealed that Rasmus is back on the grass. And that is not a reference to drugs. I mean, he's back running on the grass. So that would be horrendous, wouldn't it? We only just got him back. And next minute, he's eating bags of Doritos and that, and he's overweight. Yeah, so Cena was one of the last ones to let him rot about Sancho. It's hard hitting, but it's your opinion here on the United Stand. We're still covering Jadon Sancho. I feel that we need to still cover it because the reaction is so raw. It's brilliant to see. Harry says, one thing about McTominay was his strength, though. Will you miss that as well? He's got a nice body. He's very muscular and got nice abs and butts. Is that the Harry Maguire? Yeah, Harry's going to miss him. Big Harry will miss him in the showers, in the changing room. Roger, member for 44 months of the United Stand Members Club, says Sancho and Shaw for Cucurella. That was obviously a deal that Manchester United did explore on loan, wasn't it? And I thought that could have been a good deal, especially when you looked at how he played in the Euros. I thought we didn't miss a trick, did we? Because I think it was Chelsea that kind of sabotaged that one. But yeah, let's sabotage them. Let's give them Sancho. Deal with that issue. Deal with that problem. And you know what will happen? If he goes to Chelsea, and don't get me wrong, and the headlines will be there, he might look a bit interested. 2 or 3 games, might get an assist, maybe even a goal. But after that then, once the honeymoon period's over, you know, the money's still rattling in, and then all of a sudden, distractions, late for training, and yeah, the new Chelsea manager will have to deal with that. Danny H says, Kev, you got tangoed. There's an old one. Great advert, absolutely love that. 90s nostalgia. That's what that is. Gems, one of the United Stand moderators, has just gifted 5 the United Stand memberships. What an absolute legend. Trying to get through these super chats. We've got Derek in here. Is that a Man City badge? No, it's not. Good. Says, all right, Kev, lad. We met in Malta. Watched the Fulham match together and never introduced myself. The name's Derek. That's a really, really good one, this. So we're going to go totally off on here. Top quality show. Keep up the good work. Let's beat the Scousers on Sunday. So this is somebody that totally didn't know I was going to be in this bar in Malta. Went in, Red Lion it was called, near the hotel. Thought me and the lad will go out. Yeah, Derek, I can't believe I actually know your name. I met you in the airport on the way back to Manchester as well, didn't you? You come over and, yeah, it was great. At least we got a win. Should have watched the next game with Derek. Derek brings good luck. Watch a match. If you know Derek, ring him up for the Liverpool match. Hopefully something we'll get into later on. Jose Lopez says, glad you're back, Kev. Got my 5-a-side team all hooked on the channel here in LA. Wow. And they all love the channel. Shout out to the Dixon Myers squad. Yes, shout out the Dixon Myers squad. Loving this. A 5-a-side team hooked on the United Stand from LA. Oh, we could do with some of that weather here, mate. Absolutely devastated to come back to Manchester. It hasn't stopped raining since I got back, but you've just got to come back to normality. And I'm back where I belong on the United Stand. It is great to be back. Anthony Tracy says, with Gay to Newcastle falling through, we should offer Maguire to top 4 rival Newcastle for £25 million. £25, you've said. Did you mean £25 million? Because this could be a bit of sarcasm here from Anthony. He might be saying £25 plus add-ons. Win-win for all. Do a poll on it. Yeah, I'm guessing you mean £25 million. £25. Not sure the current regime. Do you know what? Some people might say that's Harry Maguire's market value. I don't know. But thank you for that. Ross says, worth a go, mate. Can we have a birthday shout out to my girlfriend, Jenna? Please. Yes, there you go, Jenna. Happy birthday. Very quickly, we've got 0 points. Says, Man United ruins players. No, some players don't live up to the attitude standards and the intensity of the Premier League. James says, if Sancho was a prize on 3-2-1, he'd be dusty bin. Again, I love it. Honestly, the messages are absolutely off the scale. Pat is in there. He says, we need a new left back. Who do you want, Kev? I'm available. You know, we're getting on to McTominay in a bit. Apparently, as long as you've got the DNA of Manchester United running through you, that's all that, you know, that's all you need to play for United these days. And L says, Jadon Sancho to Chelsea esports. Here we go. I think I've managed to get a lot off my chest on the Jadon Sancho thing. What I would touch on very, very quickly was the kind of report that come out about Raheem Sterling. And when we heard this Jadon Sancho, Raheem Sterling kind of story, I mean, my first, what would you call it, reaction was to take to X, like many people do. You know, if there's nobody about, sometimes the dog, Sally, might be sat there, but dogs can't talk, can they? So I might be looking at me, Sally, Jadon Sancho for Sterling. And she might just go, "Arr." And I'll say, yeah. And I'm like, brother, Raheem Sterling. I'm like, so on X, I found that meme of the guy with the big goggly glasses on, the massive eyes, where he looks confused. And I just put Raheem Sterling to Man United. Almost like, where has this one come from? It seemed to kind of come out of nowhere. Does it make any sense? I know for a fact from watching Mark and Beth over the last couple of days that they're not digging this as a kind of deal. I know that a lot of United fans are not digging it. But the one thing you can take from this, if this was to happen and some kind of deal, however it works out, I'm not saying I want Raheem Sterling at Manchester United on 300 grand a week. Don't think that sets the right tone. I think there's players at this club still on mega money that I don't agree with, but that was the previous regime. These players could possibly leave United. You know, Mason Mount, we talked about the injury, injured again. You know, he's one of the biggest earners at United. Is he one of the best players? Marcus Rashford, another top earner. Is he one of the best players? No, he isn't. And this is something that Manchester United, the hierarchy, will soon look to. You know, the players should be rewarded for the performances and what they've done on the field. But Raheem Sterling, I mean, if you want to get your thoughts in on this one, the first thing that come to my mind was, for starters, I mean, if you were going to run a poll, who would you rather have in your squad, Jadon Sancho or Raheem Sterling? I think you'd be very far-fetched for anyone sat there now to say, well, actually, Kev, I think I'd prefer Jadon Sancho. Why? It is very, very clear that Manchester is no part, he's not in the plans at the club. You know, I've at the risk of repeating myself, he's disrespected Manchester United. Then you look at Raheem Sterling. You know, he's 29. Let's not be ageist. You know, there's still a couple of years in Sterling. What's he done wrong at Chelsea? He's been stripped of his number 7 number. He's been put in the bomb squad because they want to get rid of him, because he's a high earner. But if some deal did happen where Sancho went and Sterling come in, at least you'd have a player there that wanted to play for United. I don't give a shit whether he used to play for Liverpool or Manchester City. So what? I don't care. I really don't. He was a Manchester United fan as a lad. Does anybody know that? Which I know you might say, well, why did he play for Liverpool and Manchester City? Again, you know, if he comes to United and somehow some deal is done with Sancho, at least you've got a player there that will actually be motivated, is professional, and would actually want to play for the club, would have a point to prove. And, you know, lo and behold, if, let's just say, hypothetical this, you know, Raheem Sterling signs for United tomorrow, Sancho goes there, Sterling's on, I don't know, 100 odd grand a week, but it's made up on appearances, and that's how it should be for me. I've always said that contracts should be put on, you know, incentive, performance incentive. You know, and you'd soon see Jadon Sancho get his arse in gear. You know, if he was on, I don't know, 50 grand a week, but if he plays, he gets another 50, if he scores, if he does this, whatever. However you're going to make it up, performance related, some of these players would certainly show a different kind of attitude, because in any walk of life, sales, whatever it is, people are motivated by that, and they will perform better. But Raheem Sterling signs for United tomorrow, comes on Sunday against the Scousers, scores the winner, runs over to the Liverpool fans, arms stretched out, kisses the badge. You know, that's what football's all about. You know, and then this conversation that we're having, and I'm sure a lot of you in the chat are saying, Kev, have you lost the plot? Why would you even have Raheem Sterling at United? All I am saying, as an alternative to Jadon Sancho, who at 11 o'clock tomorrow evening could be stuck in our squad, into the bomb squad, scratching his arse, doing absolutely nothing now until, what, January, the next sort of transfer window, whenever it is. Well, what would you not rather have a player who's got a point to prove, you know, has done it in the Premier League? I think a lot of people are just talking Raheem Sterling down, big time. I wouldn't have an issue with it. I'm not saying he would have been my first choice. Very surprised when I heard him mentioned. But if we can get a problem off our hands and solve a little bit of an issue, Sterling, what a great, you know, get him into the squad, integrate him, somebody off the bench, you know, and if he does get into the team, you're talking about experience with Sterling. It's the one part of the team out wide that we've got a lack of experience. We've got young players like Ahmad, Garnacho. You know, Rashford, you know, could he learn something from Sterling? Possibly. But he would be very, very experienced. And let's not forget as well, he has played that up-front kind of false nine thing before, so maybe United are going to explore that as a kind of a stopgap. Any more? Let's have a look into the minefield. Let's have a look. Jadon Sancho. Yeah, I was up to there. So Kieran is in there. Thank you very much. Said, hi, Kev. We've heard Mark Sean Dyche. Please do yours. Well, I don't really do Sean Dyche. Not really good at impressions, but welcome to the United stand. Is that all right, that? It sounded all right. Yeah, oh, there we go. Greg just said, bloody hell, is Sean Dyche in the studio? Wow, wow. Thursday nights are lit. Kyle again says, I say let him go to Chelsea. Take the cash, get Rabiot and Amrabat, like splitting up with the girl stroke guy. If they want to do the postman, that's on them. Rabiot, I know Beth did do a kind of poll on this earlier. So, do you know what? We won't touch that, but Rabiot is certainly an option, especially a free transfer. I heard a few people in that chat saying, Rabiot, you know, it has to be done before tomorrow, but he is actually a free agent, so I think you can still sign free agents after tomorrow's window. So, possibly, we need reinforcements. I am really, Kyle, surprised at the Amrabat one. I think he's been left hung out to dry. Now, this is dependent on whether Fiorentina are asking for a lot of money. What I will say is that I think United played a bit of a shithouse game with Amrabat, but that was totally up to them. We've had it done to us before. Well, look at Jadon Sancho to Dortmund. We agreed to take Amrabat on, paid a loan fee, and then there was, if you want to sign him at the end of it, the fee was, what was it, roughly about 16 million. I think at the end of that, United kind of looked and thought, and Amrabat, without a shadow of a doubt, I think would be interested in coming back to United. But I think United felt the £16 million fee, they could actually then get that down. I think they were looking at maybe half, so 8 million for Amrabat, which in theory, if we could get Amrabat tomorrow for 8 million, he knows the team, the manager knows him. He never really got a good run in his preferred position, which was the, should we say, the CDM, as the kids say, that kind of midfield role, you know, defensive midfield role. But yeah, I mean, he played left back. I loved Amrabat, and if he never comes back, there's talk today that Everton, Sean Dyche might be. I like Amrabat, good player. Might be after him. I don't know why I went all Yorkshire then, but you know, Everton. If Everton could get him for 8 million or whatever, I think United have missed out there. This is an area that even we expect Ugarte to sign tomorrow, but I still think we need numbers in there because God forbid if there's an injury. And we know we get injuries. That's what we do here at Manchester United, and we have got a problem. Them is back in the chat, says, ring up Fulham and try to do Sancho for Robinson and 20 million. Jamie says, if Sancho wants to go to Chelsea, it's simple. Put a 50 million price tag on him. And it's in Chelsea's hand. No swaps. If they pay it, then we don't look stupid. If they don't, then he stays and goes in the reserves. That is the fear, James, at the minute. There'll be the fear from the hierarchy. Again, the asset, the fee, the wages. United clearly just want to cut ties with him. Anthony says Sterling has miles on the clock, would block Ahmad. Anthony, I'm a glass half full guy. You're obviously glass half empty. I don't mind that. You know, there is nothing wrong with having half a pint and then shooting up and saying I need to get another one because it's only half empty. I like to sit there, you know, finish it. But what I would say, it could develop Ahmad. People do look at that and say it could block them. But we have had players in the past that have come in at a similar age and done, you know, a good job. There's loads of them. And it just depends whether the younger players in the squad take to that player. They might look at him. They might look up to him. I remember Laurent Blanc, showing me age here, coming to Manchester United. You know, at the grand old age of, what was he, mid-30s or whatever. And don't get me wrong, he was slow, but still a great player. But the players at Manchester United at that time, the likes of Wes Brown, John O'Shea, the younger players, what they learnt from a player like Laurent Blanc on the training field is priceless. You can't teach that. When you've got one of the best central defenders that's played the game. I've played the game. Well, he would have been. I've I can't do a French accent. Would have been something like that, but I played the game. No. But he would have said, you know, he's played the game at a high level. Just said that 3 times in a row. Yeah, you know, you can't beat that on the field because players will, especially if you're a young player who's interested, wants to develop, you will go up to, you know, players that are more experienced. Then you'll want to get into their head. You'll want to ask them the diet, how they train, what are you doing? Whereas somebody like Jadon Sancho, he won't, because he's not bothered to me. Thank you for the super chat anyway. P2GYD95 says, what do you think of Martinez as a striker option? We'll get into that in a bit because I feel like I'm waffling on a bit here, but hopefully you are enjoying the show. Jackie Boy says, swap Sancho for Cole Palmer. Do the celebration. Never do that again. That better not get clipped up either by anyone. Well, I don't know if you have been in your local Wetherspoons taking advantage of the 2 for 1, maybe 4 for 1 cocktails or whatever is kicking off here on a Thursday night in your town, Jackie Boy. But I mean, there'd be no Manchester United fan that would be turning that down. And if Chelsea was stupid enough to do it, Cole Palmer grew up as a Manchester United fan as well. I'm sure he would jump at the chance, but I can't imagine for one moment that they would entertain a swap deal with Sancho. But watch this space. Like I said earlier, tomorrow we've got the transfer special. We are covering you all day here on the United Stand. We'll have all the reports coming in. You know, Mbappe's had special guests coming on. Big Ricky will be in. We've got journalists as well, Greg, haven't we? I can't remember. Do you know, I wasn't on last year, Greg. Greg's in my ear here. He's reminiscing about last year. Yeah, you have a think about it. Unless some of the die-hard United Stand viewers out there can remember what Tottenham player rang in. Let's do a competition here. You can win a night out with Kev, but you've got to buy the drinks. What Tottenham player rang in last year to the transfer deadline show on the United Stand? Get in there. Who wants a night out with Kev? There'll be no answers to that one. Just check I am up to date. It will never happen, but we can dream. That's what Jackie Boy says. I like a dreamer. He's a dreamer. He's a dreamer, this lad. I like him. Scott McTominay. Gus Poyet. Yes, I remember now. I don't know why I'm pointing. Well, Greg's over there, that's why I'm pointing. Gus Poyet rang in to the United Stand. Gus Poyet knows that the United Stand is like the biggest Man United fan channel in the land. And he was like, rang in. Yeah, I do remember that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but what a legend, you know. Wow. Oh, yes, he was. God, I'm having flashbacks now. Everyone's probably thinking, what is going on here? Gus Poyet was lay in bed and he was on... do you know what? He probably didn't even know he was like on a video chat. Thought he was just talking into the phone. It might have been Beth he was talking to. It could have gone horribly wrong. He was just lay in bed. Digging a hole there. But yes, we've got special guests tomorrow on the transfer special. We're taking you all the way through the day. I will be back on tomorrow as well. I think 6 till 8. We're taking you all the way through. Goldbridge will finish up till 11 doing his Jim White. Hopefully he wears the yellow tie, Goldbridge. We'll try and get him to get that on. But let's get on to Scott McTominay. Has been welcomed in Naples like this. Is it the 5th Beatle? That's the kind of scenes that were going on. You know, you would have swore. I mean, this was Paul Gascoigne signing for like Lazio back in the day. The scenes. As Scott, I was looking and I'm thinking. I think even at one stage, Scott McTominay, kind of sheepishly at the airport. There's grown men and they're all chanting Scott, 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 Scott. I'm watching this video, I'm thinking, is this some kind of AI going on here? But they are crazy. The Italian fans are absolutely crazy. Some people probably were saying, was it United fans that were going to make sure that Scott McTominay was actually, you know, going to Napoli? But yeah, he arrived to, what would you say? You can't say a hero's welcome. It was just a very, very warm welcome. Probably something you wouldn't see here. Probably just a load of Italian taxi drivers that happened to be there at the time. Napoli fans, let's get in there. Scott McTominay sheepishly kind of looks behind, probably thinking like one of the, I don't know, Harry Styles from One Direction was walking through the airport at the same time until the Scott. chant started. But yeah, I mean, £30 million move for Scott McTominay. The question is, would Manchester United have sold McTominay if PSR was not a thing? I don't think they would have. I really don't. And I did like McTominay. Again, I'm risking my reputation here on the United stand. You know, I'm saying I would swap Sterling for Sancho, and next minute I'm saying that I probably would have kept Scott McTominay if PSR was not a thing. But the thing is, PSR is a thing, and Manchester United obviously looked at this, the profit and sustainability regulations, and thought, we're going to have to get rid of Scott McTominay. He was a good squad player. Let's not beat around the bush. And without Scott McTominay's goals last season, I firmly believe that Erik ten Hag would have been sacked from Manchester United, because United would not have finished. Where did we finish? 8th? 7th? 8th? Who cares? Well, I do, actually. Yeah, I mean, finishing in that place. You take the goals out that Scott McTominay scored coming on against Brentford. You know, the streets will never forget the goals against Brentford. They will never forget the halfway line goal against. Let's just say it was halfway line goal. Let's big it up. Like a fisherman when he goes and catches a fish, you know, and it was about this big, but he tells everyone back at the pub, oh, it was massive. Couldn't hold it, you know, I had to get Pam to hold its tail. It sounded a bit wrong, but yeah, I mean, are you sad to see McTominay go? We're talking fishing, Pam holding fish tails, it's all going off here. And let me just get up to date with the live chat. It's absolutely brilliant. Brandon says, I think we should have looked at the swap with Sancho and Chiesa. Think that would have suited us massively. But if we want to go get him one, he's a tit. I love that. Love the word tit. You got to say it like that, though, if you're going to say it. Get him one. He's a tit. He is a tit, Brandon. Well said. Chiesa, obviously, has now agreed today to go to Liverpool. I think it's a risky one, that. I know United were linked with him, but I think the injury that he had, you know, listen, it's up to... Maybe the United's medical department got the... You know, the wooden hammer out, tapped it on Chiesa's knee. Didn't like the sound of it. Bit hollow, that. You know, put the old ear up and said no. But Liverpool are... it's a risk. And Liverpool are heavily stacked in that department as well of players. So I didn't necessarily see it as a player they needed. But the reported 10 million does seem good. But again, it's risky. The same way any player like that comes back from an injury, it is a risk. You know, United took on Radamel Falcao. Loved that signing at the time, but it was high risk because of the injury that he'd had, and was he going to recover? It didn't really work out for him at United, but he went on to score goals. Phil and James Reed. Is that two people? I like this. Super Chat says, hi Kev, has Ugarte signed on the dotted line yet? He hasn't signed on the dotted line yet. I did say earlier, it's the United. Our understanding at the United stand, it will be tomorrow. They're just, what do they say? Crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and he's got to learn how to play Glory, Glory Man United on the ukulele. They'll film it all, put it out on Manchester United's website tomorrow, and it will be an interesting signing. Anders says, heard the rumours of linked to United. I haven't, to be honest. Zayn Miasse. Is that the Zayn Miasse, the absolute legend? Is it really? Member for 27 months says you might finish lower than 8th without Scott's goals. And a point that I just alluded to before. I do think that United wouldn't have sold him if PSR, you know, had not come in. I think they would have kept him as a squad player. But again, you've got Rio Ferdinand kind of stoking the flames about this DNA thing. I said it earlier, man. You know, I've got the United DNA running through my veins. But if you put me out on the pitch against Liverpool on Sunday, I'd be overrun. I'd be blowing out my arse after probably a couple of minutes. You know, I'd give it a bit of fight. I'd show like I was interested, but I just wouldn't be good enough. And I think that does... It sounds harsh, but Scott McTominay, I've just said he's a good squad player. You know, would he get Manchester City's team, Arsenal's team, Liverpool's team, Tottenham's team? Did Newcastle want him? You know, we're going down. That's 6 teams, you know, in the kind of top 6 from last season. No, Fulham, is that? Well, that's our kind of level. You know, that's where we finished kind of last season. But Fulham obviously went for Smith Rowe in the end. But I think it's an absolute brilliant, brilliant move for Scott McTominay. And what I will say, wish him all the best. I really do. Thanks for the moments. Thanks for the goals. And in stark contrast to Jadon Sancho and certain other footballers that have represented this shirt, thank you for showing, I don't mind saying thanks for showing passion, and thank you for showing that you were actually asked and give a shit about Manchester United. Because there's a lot of players you can look at and say, well, they didn't care. And yes, he wasn't technically blessed, never going to be the best player in the world. But as a United fan, I'll look and I'll say, I wish you all the best, mate. Hope everything goes well there. Enjoy the weather, you know, and you've got fans there that will, if you do the business. I think the Italian football will be very, very much better suited to Scott McTominay. And yeah, I wish him all the best. I really don't have a bad word to say about him. I know a lot of United fans will have... They'll say that it does. He has gone missing in games. He's come on, scored the late goals, which then prompts Erik ten Hag to start him in the next game, and then there is a drop-off. There's no room for passengers at this club anymore. The squad is... I mean, I think it's 16 players that have now left Manchester United. It's mind-boggling. We haven't brought in 16, but that goes to show you. That's a mixture of deadwood, players that we just needed to get off the books. I think it's nearly 100 million. It might be over 100 million that Manchester United have brought in. When's the last time we did that? And apart from maybe Donny van der Beek that we sold for about 500,000, you know, we made a major loss on that. Even some of the deals, the way we're structuring deals, the ones that we're selling, your Greenwoods, even Hannibal to an extent, who's just gone to Burnley, these add-on clauses. United were never clued up with stuff like this, but they've got the people at the top now, and they're looking at this and going, well, you know, in Hannibal's case, or Palestri's, I was surprised to see Palestri go. I'm thinking, what's going on? But then you look at the deal, they've got the buyback option. So in United's terms, it's almost like a loan. And that's on Palestri's terms then. If he goes and rips it up, and United in a couple of years come back in, there's some kind of fee that's already agreed. United can take him back. If not, and he goes for mega money and he wants to go somewhere else, United will, you know, receive a fee. Well, it's all about getting the wages off the bill. Seen somewhere the other day, the likes of obviously Martial, mega wages that have gone. But in total, these 16 players, you're looking, I think it's over £1 million a week that United are going to save. I know, listen, we're not going to sit here and celebrate it. We're not going to crack open the champagne and say, woo! But this is what should have been getting done at United, and it just goes to show how much deadwood there was. We all agreed this ages ago. There's loads and loads of deadwood, and it could never be done over one transfer window. But by God, that new structure has just gone in at this minute to get rid of 16 players. It's unheard of. But it shows that United are getting these deals done, and they're not being bullied in the transfer market as well. Mandy says, Kone had his medical today as well, Kev. Yeah, that's a good shout. So I should imagine he'll be announced with Ugarte tomorrow. Keep up the good work, young man. Hey, Mandy. Bit of flirtatious messaging going on. Young man and a kiss as well. Young man, eh? I wish I was young again. I really do. But Scott McTominay, I've said it. I think we wish him all the best. What time are we on? 5 to 9. Let's address, I could say, the elephant in the room. I said this last time, and there isn't an elephant in the room. We're looking ahead. Let's look ahead, because I can probably tie all this in. It is Liverpool. Do you know, I did this last time and I didn't realise until I actually watched it back. I am actually the original Hocteur bloke. That Hayley Welch has made an absolute fortune. Well, obviously, I wasn't referring to where I was going to do the Hocteur, but I used to always do this when I was doing van cams and stuff. Whenever I said Liverpool or Manchester City, I used to do, it'll be on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? It's documented. Hayley Welch has come in. He's got hats with Hocteur on. Missed the trick there, Kev. Oh God, back to the 9 to 5 tomorrow. Yes, well, let's Liverpool on Sunday. This is a game that Manchester United did well in last season. The Anfield game, nobody gave us a chance. Raphael Varane was an absolute brick wall. We don't have Varane this year. The main problem for me from watching United in Malta, wish I was back in Malta, in the Red Lion, watching the Fulham game and watching the Brighton game, Harry Maguire, I get fed up of talking about him, to be honest. Yeah, fair play, he's in there, he's doing a bit of a job. The Brighton goal, the Danny Welbeck one, I don't know how he's looking round at anyone to kind of blame anyone. You know, the basic fundamental of being a defender, if you're a no-nonsense defender, which Harry Maguire's supposed to be, you clear the ball, lad. Put it in stand. You know, you don't watch it sail past you in the 6-yard box and then look to blame others or say I couldn't get to it. He could have. This is where De Ligt now, you know, he's been held back. It might be to do with match sharpness, might be to do with kind of game time or, yeah, match fitness. For me, De Ligt has to step in against Liverpool. If he's fully up there and match fit, I think the one that Manchester United fans want to see is the De Ligt-Martinez partnership and how this can sort of bond. And, I mean, we all forget about Lenny Yoro. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be playing on Sunday. He's injured. Another player that is sheer excitement. You know, I keep forgetting about him. And then he gets mentioned. And I think the options that we'll have then at centre-back makes us so strong. Mazraoui at right-back, I think, has been an absolute breath of fresh air. The Wan-Bissaka deal, you know, we were looking and thinking, defensively, he was really good. But if we're looking at a full package, Mazraoui, defensively, has been really good. And up the other end of the field, against Brighton, so many times, he found himself in the final third, looks comfortable, picking passes out. I think on FPL, it's a good judge of that, actually. After game week 1, Mazraoui was like one of the most transferred in players. Obviously for the money, but a lot of fans would have seen from the performance and the points that he picked up in that first game that he's a good player to have in there. The main one is going to be Ugarte. We expect that to be done tomorrow, as we've learned here on the United Stand, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. But if Ugarte comes in, how fit is he? Because the major question mark has been Casemiro. He definitely looks leaner. I thought that in the first game at Fulham. He's definitely shed a few pounds, looks leaner. But the thing is, he's no quicker. And the silly mistakes that he's making, I mean, these are basic mistakes on the edge of his own box. You do see, and I never thought I'd say this, but you do see Kobbie Mainoo is in next to him, not knowing whether to go or not. I'm not saying Casemiro is a liability, but I think Kobbie Mainoo's that switched on. It doesn't give him that freedom to roam. And Mainoo's statistics this season, first 2 games, I think he's been, as far as dribbles in this centre of midfield, he's up there, up near 90% more than any other player. This is what we want to see him do. And if Ugarte signs, again, I wouldn't expect him to play, but let's say that he tells Erik ten Hag, you know, this pit bull in the midfield, that he's ready to play. This is the player that Manchester United want to bring in. Ugarte is this player that's going to break up play. I had a lad on site come up to me today and he said, Kev, this Ugarte, you know, I heard this South American correspondent on earlier and he reckons he doesn't play long balls, he doesn't score goals. What else was it? He doesn't set up goals. Why are we signing him? So I said, well, we need a player that is going to sit in deep. We thought Casemiro was that player. After the first season, there's been a drop-off, and he's never going to get any quicker. But Ugarte is this player that will give you the protection, and as long as he sits in front of the back four, you'll see what he's done at his previous club. That's exactly what he does. Tenacious, gets in, does the donkey work. He's the donkey on Blackpool Beach. It sounds awful, that, but what I mean is, you know, he will carry children on his back, you know, up and down the promenade for their pleasure. As long as they're smiling and everybody's happy, that donkey's done his work. You know, and he'll give the ball to anybody else then. This is where Mainoo then can push up closer to Fernandes. And then the midfield dynamic and everything in front should totally change, should totally transform. And there's no doubt we're missing Højlund. We need a focal point to this team. But Mason Mount, I mean, is that even news? I mean, is it bad luck? It is bad luck that Mason Mount is out. It's a hamstring injury. He's played pre-season. He's played in the 2 Premier League games that we played this season. I'm putting that down to, I think that's just unlucky. I think a lot of people will try to blame the medical department, maybe put it down to that. But yeah, I mean, the thing with Mason Mount, you can tell he's absolutely devastated. I mean, he did take to Instagram today saying, during the last game, I picked up a minor muscle injury issue. He said, I've had it checked and it looks like I'll be out for a few games. So at least it's not a few months. And let's not forget, we've got an international break coming up. He said, leading up to during pre-season, I worked hard to get my fitness back to where it needs to be. And I felt re-energised, sharp and ready. I wanted you to hear it directly from me, how frustrated I am. As I expect you are too, I will do everything possible to be back in the best shape and help the team. I do admire that, and that we've had these players in the past that I've done it myself on here. I've just absolutely lost the plot with them. You can tell that's Mason Mount that's probably ever told somebody that's his quote. It's not this, not the result we wanted, we go again shite that we used to get after every week getting beat, and we were, you know, we heard that Manchester United had these social media gurus that come in and it was all about promoting positive mindset. But, you know, us as fans, we're just raging after the game. Going, I can't believe it, man. You know, he's shit and he shouldn't have played and this and that. You want a bit of honesty. I'd rather somebody come out and say, you know, we were absolutely crap today. This is something we're going to have to work on. We've had words in the changing rooms. Not this, not the result we wanted, but we go again. You know, and it just seemed to be a kind of running theme. But in terms of Liverpool, again, it's a game, I said earlier, we were, nobody expects us to get anything from Anfield. We absolutely, what did we do? We frustrated him. You know, Jurgen Klopp's gone now, Arne Slot's come in. There's only room for one Dutch, bald, Messiah manager in the Premier League, and it's not Arne Slot. It's Erik ten Hag, that's what I would say. So Slot can absolutely do one. But remember that game? Virgil van Dijk, we absolutely did his head in. Remember after the game, United didn't play football and that. What were we supposed to do? You just wanted us to lie down, you know, and let you know, tickle your belly or whatever and go on, put another 7 past us. At Old Trafford again, you know, later on in the year, what was it, 2-2, Mainoo's brilliant goal. But the one main game from last season, 4-3. What a game. Wow, wasn't it, eh? Diallo Day, Amad Diallo. And I am confident. I think the start to the season, I've not had much of a say on it. Fulham, I'm seeing patterns of play. I'm seeing playing out from the back. And these new signings can only make this club and this team stronger. And against Brighton, I didn't think we deserved to get beat. Absolute sucker punch at the end. Defending was atrocious, especially so late on in the game, to leave an overload of 3 players with nobody there. You know, just let them edit in the goal. They've won the game. It was a sucker punch. It really was. And I thought the Xerxes offside goal, you know, what a load of bollocks. It really annoyed me. Really did, that one. But I didn't let it get to me. I just, what can you do? But I'm seeing signs. And if I hadn't, and it was similar maybe to the start of last season, maybe a bit more of a worry. But the signings certainly should give you more hope and certainly make you feel a lot more confident about this season. I think it's always going to be a roller coaster of emotions with United, and this year will be no different. But for me, top 4. It has to be top 4. And I know it's small steps at the minute. A lot of people in the press will start writing. I was surprised today to hear Paul Merson come out and say that he predicts 2-2 on Sunday. I think that there will be goals in it. I think you can get at Liverpool from what I've seen, and it's just whether we turn up. We should. It gives me great hope that it's at Old Trafford. And again, the results that we had there last season. But I think Ugarte coming in gives us a huge lift. I would expect him to start on the bench. Bruno Fernandes. The main one for me is Marcus Rashford. I don't understand how long this goes on of keeping him in the team.
I mean, talk about somebody who's not performing. I mean, if Marcus Rashford wasn't on that money, I don't know. It shouldn't be. That's a headache for Ten Hag. It should be. If I'm Ruud van Nistelrooy, if he's the assistant manager that is reporting to him, whatever, maybe he plays a blinder in training, but you'd have to look and go, no, I wouldn't be playing him. I've not seen enough from him this season. I don't think he deserves it. I think Ahmad stays in there. For what Ahmad did against Brighton was absolutely, it was just unbelievable. You know, the death of his mother, what was it, the day before, to tell Ten Hag that he was ready to go out there and play. That's an unbelievable thing. It really is. And to score a goal, the emotions of that, brilliant. Shows what a great character Ahmad is. We've got a great player there. And Erik Ten Hag spoke so glowingly about Ahmad and said that this is his season, and hopefully it will be. But obviously you've got Garnacho as well, who will be getting up to speed now after the Copa America. So is he an option on the left if you take out Rashford? Do you play Rashford up as a number 10? Not for me. I think the Mason Mount injury for me opens up the door on Sunday for Joshua Zirkzee to start. That's what I would do. If I'm Kevin Ten Hag, that's what I'm doing. I think Zirkzee, I like what I've seen so far. Again, don't want to get too carried away, but I'd certainly do that. I think we're all up to date with, I'll tell you what I'll do. I always do this in typical Thursday night fashion. We run a poll 34 minutes ago, did we, Greg? You never told me that. Who would... All right, okay. All right, mate. Yeah, no bother. Who would you rather have in your squad? Have you ended that one? That was nearly 5,000 votes. We might as well wrap up on that note. 55% Sancho. What, would rather keep him in the squad? Him or wow, we were. You honestly, I used to like you lot out there. Why would you want to keep a player in your squad who is going to be around, scratching his ass, late for training, not interested, when you could have one who... I don't get it, man. Honestly. A lot of crying emojis in the chat here. I'm in the main chat now. I always say the United Stand Ultras. I can see Gems, the moderators, laughing. Sally's in there working hard to delete messages. Probably the ones that are saying, who is this fraud? Sterling is shite, Kev, says Josh Lee. I love it in here. The one thing about there's no punches, nothing's held back in this chat room. That's why people will be like, neither wasn't an option, Kev. Oh, Sally, thank you very much. Yeah, keep deleting them ones that are saying that Kev looks like Teabag. He looks like Peter Crouch's love child. Yep, seen it, heard it all. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just having... I shouldn't be doing this live, really, should I? I'll do it later on when I go home. I'll have a look back through the chat, see if anybody was complimentary of the Thursday night show. And if not, then I am sorry. I know there's a lot of you out there that'll be like, no Mark, no party. And it's this knobhead again. I'm tuning off. See ya. Listen, I do my best. That's all I can do. And in fact, I'm doing more than Jadon Sancho at this moment in time. I'm actually working, actually doing a tap. Yeah, Oasis back together this week. What's bigger? We should Oasis getting back together or Kev back on the United Stand? You know what I mean? Let's run a poll. Let's not, Greg. I'm only joking, mate. Yeah, Kev looks like a Manchester Mario. You're doing a great job, says Suzanne. Thank you. I like to go in here, just massage the ego. I'm joking, of course. Do you know what? One quick story before... time for a story, Greg. Story time. Yeah. 1 hour and 7 minutes have been going. One quick one, because if this person is watching, and this is the only way I can reach out, in Malta, really, really quickly, this one. Security guard at Passport Control, Malta Airport. Me and the family have stood there last Sunday, back of the queue, hundreds of people. This guy comes over, Maltese guy, of course he was, comes over, taps me on the shoulder. I wasn't feeling very well, I don't know whether it was something I drank the night before or whatever. Taps me on the shoulder in front of the family, everybody's looking, and he says, excuse me, sir, step out the queue, come with me. And I'm thinking, oh God, no. And I'm like, I've seen Banged Up Abroad. I've seen these horror stories. I'm thinking it's not me, whatever. I might look like some Mexican drug mule. It is not me. Brings me over to one side and he looks me in the eye, no smile, nothing, straight face. Everybody in the queue looking at me and he says, I know who you are. And I'm like, it's not me. You know, I am not whatever Kaiser Sose. I am not involved. I don't know what is going on. He says, you are Kev from the United Stand. And he says, you and your family do not need to queue. Please go to the front of the queue. Yes! It's a dead true story. And the only reason I say it is because he obviously watches the United Stand. I don't know his name. He never smiled, never did anything because he just brought us to the front, told the person at the front to check us straight through, and through we went. Oh, what a story, man. But if you're watching, I just want to say thank you very much, because I tried to say thank you at passport control, but he had the game face on and he was like, you know, as if to say, don't look at me, don't smile, whatever. But it absolutely just ended what was a top holiday. So, hey, the perks of being on the United Stand Day. It's about time. But you've been watching, thank you very much anyway. You've been watching the biggest Man United fan channel in the land. This was the United Stand. Bye-bye.